Yes. I don't know if y'all watched the new Netflix, the reboot. I'm sure you did. It was probably the inspo for this show. Um, but the one, like the French guy who was like a family annihilator, and it's
That
like
was a crazy one.
it.
Oh, right. Who buried his family like underneath the patio.
He's just been like on the run.
Yeah.
Some of those cases, it's like they're unsolved, but it's like they're only unsolved because of like a technicality or something. It's like you know that the dad did it, and then with the one where like the mom killed her daughter, and then her stepdad. Remember that one?
Yeah, it's like the newer episodes are more like, here is the obvious killer that we just can't arrest.
Yeah, and so it's like not unsolved. It's like it's like a legal technicality that's preventing their arrest,
which is like infuriating. Yeah. Sometimes
not so much a mystery, but a dang it, why can't they arrest this person?
I know.
Also, the old ones had like, I didn't remember this, but they have like public interest stories that are like not really like they're not really like murdery or crime. Like I saw one the other day where it was like a girl like was very frozen, like because she was out in the weather, inclement weather, and yeah, it sounds like terrible, but like the mystery was whether God helped like revive her by because the mom started a prayer chain. I mean, that was it. I was like, okay.
Yeah. If anybody has any leads on God.
Yeah.
Well, they have like UFOs and stuff.
Yeah.
He is one of our great unsolved mysteries. So
Who has leads on God?
Speaking of unsolved mysteries, if you are joining us right now in Twitch chat on NoPants Improv, we are the NoPants Improv team, and tonight we're presenting a very exciting show, Improvised Mysteries, based on we are favoring the 70s 80s flair, and yeah, the new Netflix ones are really fun too, but not in the same vein as the other ones. To get us started this evening, we're going to need some help from chatters like you, and what we'd like is to get a place where this murder happened, a city, and maybe a location within that city would be super helpful for our team to start brewing ideas. And we'd also like a murder weapon. Could be traditional, could be non-traditional murder weapon that you'd like to see play out in this show tonight, because this is all made up on the spot. This is, in fact, an improvised mystery, and we don't know how it's going to go or what's going to happen or if someone was actually killed by a blow pop or not. It's up to viewers like you. Shout out to our murderinos. Stacey, could you help me understand what a murderino is?
Oh, yeah. So I'm repping right now my favorite murder. So murderino is basically someone who's, I guess you could say, obsessed with true crime, serial killers, tends to be females, great group of people. I mean, Facebook groups are like the most inspirational, awesome place to be. But it's really, so it was coined, I'm not exactly sure where the term was coined. I heard maybe even on The Simpsons, but someone in a fan group for my favorite murder called them murderinos. So that was kind of like a term to like, my fellow murderinos who all like murder. So.
Mm-hmm. Wow, I now know that I am in fact a murderino.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
Usually people just call me a freak for liking that.
Yeah, it's a better term than freak or weird.
Yeah, you're right, it is.
Mm-hmm. Like it's whenever something's gendered, you're like, what's up with that? But also I feel like if I hear that, like one was watching is like, I feel like if a woman's watching, like, yes, you're being safe. It can be a dangerous, right? Learn. I feel like as a guy, if you're obsessed with murder things, it sounds like you're trying to take notes, like in a terrible, wrong way. So yeah, not okay. Yeah.
Nice thing about Merino is that it doesn't have that gender connotation. Anyone can be that. It's big tent.
Yeah, it's not like a Spanish term like murderina. I mean, it's just murderino. Right. Everyone's welcome.
Murderino.
Right.
It kind of sounds like juggalo. Like, I don't know, to me, it has the same.
Murderino.
Mm-hmm.
I like to fuck crime.
Yeah.
We're getting some really fun suggestions.
That was so
Excellent.
funny.
Great.
Yes.
I'll leave now.
I don't know why that got me so good.
Stay.
Oh, you should run for sheriff with that platform. I feel like
Mhm, mhm. I would vote for you.
I'm not going to eradicate crime in this city. I'm going to fuck its brains out.
yeah.
Yep.
So it looks like improvisers. It looks like our murder was committed in Toledo, Ohio, and the murder weapon is an elk horn.
A what?
An elk horn.
Like the
Like a
horn?
horn of the elk.
Like an antler kind of thing?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking
Okie dokie.
two different suggestions that don't go together, and we're gonna make that all make sense.
Ohio.
Oh, right. But it wasn't, there was like an elk and a horn as a suggestion. And
No, it was like Juneau, Alaska. I'm like, no, let's have the elk horn be in play in Toledo, Ohio. I love the Midwest. Hello, Chicago. Hello, Omaha. Our screens are going to go away. And when we come back, we present Improvised Mysteries.
On October the 13th, in the year of 1983, Mary Beth Jane Smith, known to her friends and family as Fun Mary, took a walk that led her down the wild side. She was 18 years old and full of life until she wasn't. Tonight, we look back at Mary's life and question who could have committed such a heinous murder where someone killed her with an elk horn. Join me, will you, for this titillating episode of Improvised Mysteries. Perhaps you can help solve a mystery.
Well, Mary, how's it going, sweetheart? I see you here at the gas station every day. Sorry, I understand that looks like a neighborhood right this second, but it's the neighborhood gas station.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm having a similar problem.
Yeah, it's good, Mary. So, hon, I really love whenever you come and pick up your cinnamon rolls and your breakfast foods in the morning. You know, this is a kind of shady part of town, though, Mary. I worry about you. You're so young.
Well, Kathy, I work down the street, and this is just the most convenient place for me to get my cinnamon rolls and my snacks. And I figure, you got your choice of weapons back there. I feel like you're here to protect me. When I walk in here, I always feel safe. I saw you deal with that one very robust man last week who was trying to steal them cigarettes.
Oh, Mary, you know me, sweet darling girl. I keep them all around. I got me my little bitty bat hair all the time. And right there above that door, we always keep a little elk horn. You know, that's my ding-dang favorite.
Yeah, where'd you get that again?
Oh, you know me. I go hunting almost every other weekend during the season. Try to keep my favorite ones. I got a whole bunch at the house. You ever need one, you let me know, sweetheart.
That one's big. What would you need one for? I've never actually been hunting, Kathy.
Oh, well, like I mentioned, I grew up in these parts. I never left, actually. Pretty old resident here, but it's been pretty shady parts for a minute, sweet girl. So I've been collecting these since I was about your age. I'm about 40 now. That's a 7-point buck right there. I almost wrestled it to the ground because I shot it in the knee, and then I had to kill it myself.
That's amazing. I can tell that you're capable of that because you are a very muscular woman.
You're not wrong. Well, Mary, you take care. And honestly, honey, the cinnamon rolls are on me today, all right?
Really, Kathy?
Anytime.
Thanks.
Take care, babe.
Mary, do you mind if I call you by your first name?
No, I don't mind.
Just tell me a little bit more, just recording this, a little bit more about what brings you as a potential student to Ohio State.
Yeah. Well, my mama always said education is most important. So I feel like Ohio State is just going to be the best choice for me because it's offering all of the classes that I'm going to need in order to become a librarian.
I appreciate that. That's something to go for that. I noticed that you requested me as your admissions officer, and I'm kind of curious if that has something to do with the fact that we were once involved.
Yeah, Jack.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It was the best sex I ever had.
All right. I mean, I agree. Again, I'm recording this just to keep a record.
I thought you meant like in your mind.
No, that was then. We'll just make sure this doesn't. I'll probably throw this out after. Look, I think you'd be a great student. It's just it leads to some awkwardness, is all.
No, I don't think it has to be like that. We can just we can keep the professional and the personal separate. I mean, as a librarian, I'm gonna need to learn how to be a professional who can act professional.
That's great. And, we'll keep it. It's funny because I always remembered you'd love playing the librarian, but I thought that was just a sex thing.
Yeah, well, it inspired me. You inspired me, Okay. I mean, before this, I really, what I wanted to do was open my own Piggly Wiggly. And then after that, I realized that was a very big upfront investment. And so I decided, maybe I'll work down, at the pool, be a lifeguard. But I can't swim.
Yeah, you'd always sit there and jump and right in the pool and then go, I can't swim, and everyone's like, why are you doing that? Yeah, I'm gonna shelve this tape. It'll never see the light of day.
Unfortunately, despite her aspiration to be a lifeguard, there was no one there to help save her life. It turns out Jack, the Ohio State admissions director, also had another love interest named Lonnie, who would soon come into the picture.
Oh, Mary Sue, what we have is special, I think. Mary Beth. Mary Beth.
What we have is special.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was taking like just an enormous hit of this bong, and I forgot we were having this conversation.
It happens all the time with you. You're so funny.
Yeah, well,
I think. I was just gonna say, I heard some rumors about you hooking up with some college guy or something, and that's not true, right? You would never.
Which one?
Oh, good Lord. I should have known. Not to let my heart get too invested in somebody who doesn't even respect me. I'm slaving away, working at my dad's taxidermy business, knee deep in elk innards, and you're just off dilly-dallying all over the state of Ohio, aren't you?
No, it's not true. I love, you know, that squirrel you gave me, the one wearing the apron.
Yeah.
I keep that above my bed.
Well, I made that for you so special. I even posed his little claw so he looked like he was scared. I don't know. Well, maybe he was.
He does look scared. And you know what? It's different. Lonnie, what you and I have is totally different.
But so, okay, then you tell me, we're still going to open a Piggly Wiggly together? That's our plan? Like, you don't have any other plans for the future?
Well, I mean, Lonnie, it's just that I've decided to become a librarian now because it's so sexy.
Okay. Not only are you right, but it's not fair. You knew I wanted to be a librarian before you talked me into the Piggly Wiggly. This just seems so cruel. This seems so needlessly cruel.
It's just, babe, I'm a follower and I'm pretty selfish and I can't help myself.
And this brings us to examine Mary's religious past at her community church.
Mary.
Yes, sister.
Mary Beth Jane Smith, thank you for joining me at the church farm while I feed the church elk here. I asked you to come down here so that we may speak about an incident that I saw.
Oh.
I witnessed last Sunday at church as the tithing trays went past your hands. Mary Beth, do you have something you would like to tell me while I feed the church elk?
Well, it's just that normally I do the confessions in the box with that guy.
Yes, that guy being the priest David.
That's his name.
Mm.
And I feel like those, you're feeding them those elk kind of hard. Are you angry?
I'm a little bit angry. Mary Beth Jane Smith, I saw you take money from the tithing tray.
No, I didn't take it. I was just taking some change because I had a $20 bill and I needed ones for the laundry.
Mary Beth, you know, when you lie to a nun, you lie to the Lord. That will not get you out of it at this point, Mary Beth.
How many Hail Marys is that going to be? Or
it would be all the Hail Marys you have in your gut.
Mm-hmm. Sister, you know, we have kind of a history. You admit, like, I feel like you have always been very hard on me ever since I came to this church, and I've just, you know, always, well, like you yourself used to say, gotten on your nerves.
Well, that is the truth. You get on my nerves, Mary Beth. You joined the choir and were late to every rehearsal that we had. You said you were an alto when you were clearly a soprano and could not sing alto at all. You, in Sunday school, you would go off and draw upside down crosses.
Oh.
As we spoke of the Lord.
That was, I mean, what, I don't think you'd understand, but that was really funny. And all of the other kids thought I was really cool for doing that.
Eventually, they would all come to Hail Mary as the victim of a terrible antlering. To really get to know Mary's past, we learn what a typical night on the weekend was like for her with her best friends.
Ugh, I hate Toledo. It is so boring here. I can't wait to go to college and just get the fuck out.
Oh my God, guys, how's my accent? Is it working?
It's so working. You're so bad.
Pass me that bong. You guys, I think I want to be some kind of librarian, maybe.
Ooh, hot.
It's hot, right?
Super hot.
Super hot.
Oh my God. You would get so many dudes if you were a librarian, right?
These dudes in this town are so boring.
Oh God.
So-
No, you want to be a librarian in like New York or LA, right?
You gotta.
Totally.
After this
It's
year.
like Nicolas Cage walks up to you and you're like,
Yeah, I'm thinking like you go to New York or LA, you start as a librarian, but then soon you meet a casting agent. And then from there, it's just success.
That's
right?
definitely how it works. That's definitely it.
You
That's
guys.
a cool bong. It's an elk horn.
I know.
So cool.
Yeah, you guys, that is pretty genius, right? Like
Yeah. Like our
found
town is fucking filled with nothing but elk.
it's
And I don't give a shit about it. But when you turn it into a bong, yeah, that's what I want. I'm 18. I love drugs.
drugs are the best, guys. That's all
Mhm.
there is to do in this town. I just want to get fucking blasted to bits and just forget about it.
Totally, totally. Guys, do I look like Cyndi Lauper with my haircut?
Oh my God.
Well, they look like
Yeah. You're so hot.
Oh my God, thank you so much.
Hot. Guys, tonight we should go to the graveyard.
Ew.
Shut
Yeah.
up.
I mean,
so in, right?
what?
I'm so in.
Yeah.
And
Just saw Nightmare on Elm Street and I'm ready to rumble.
Yeah. Exactly.
so
it's-
creepy. And the cops don't even go in there because it's so creepy. So we can drink from my dad's flask.
Ew, sweet. Is it an elk horn?
Yeah.
Cool.
Ugh, we're going to be friends forever, right, guys?
Of course. That's why we have these necklaces that say best
Best
friend
friend.
forever.
Great.
So, do girls just want to have fun? Or do they want to get murdered? Well, of course they don't want to get murdered, but some do, like poor Mary. And this led us to that fateful night of Mary's demise. Here we talked with Toledo's finest.
Yeah, I had the unfortunate job of arriving on the scene, similar to this one, not this one. The murder was something I'd never seen before. There was an elk horn impaled into a girl in a way that I am reluctant to describe in great detail. I will say that it was a suspicious scene because Mary's car was missing from the scene, and it was later found submerged in the lake. And when we retrieved it, we found all kinds of fibers that were indicative of some kind of some kind of wig or perhaps large animal. And that's when our investigation began. We pretty much just started to interview everyone who was close to Mary. Of course, first we talked to her friends. We also talked to her parents, who were quite distraught. They had a lot of interesting things to say about Mary, though, things that I did not quite expect.
It was indeed a terrible way to get antlered or horned, however one prefers to say it. Now, we meet her distraught parents.
You know, it's been about 5 years, but it still feels
Like yesterday.
yesterday. It's obviously we're devastated.
I think we were devastated in a couple of ways because, after this happened, it brought out so much about Mary Beth that we had no clue about.
No.
I mean, she was
No.
our baby.
It was,
She was
you know,
small.
we are we're a very warm and welcoming household. We tried to encourage her to when the time came to express herself sexually, if that's what she wanted to do. We didn't want to inhibit her or make sex a dirty thing in any way. But when we learned about her affair with the Ohio State admissions counselor, I mean, we were beside ourselves.
I think he took advantage of her. A young, naive girl like Mary Beth. Well, I thought she was naive. But...
And, we raised her to be such a good kid. She had a great relationship with the woman who runs the gas station down the street, the little corner store.
Did, yes. She was an acolyte in church,
Mm-hmm. Yep, she was.
She volunteered at the soup kitchen.
Yep. And to hear, in Toledo, we're a very tight-knit community. Everyone in this town is lovely, or so we thought. When we learned she was murdered with an elk antler, I mean, it can't be much clearer that it was a Toledo resident who did that.
Yeah. And we had just found out a couple of months before this that she did an allergy test. She was having some allergic reactions. We did find out that she is allergic to elk and dogs and cats.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Which is a challenge, considering elk and elk related industry is the leading industry here in Toledo. So you'd be hard pressed to find someone who didn't work in some capacity with elk. So it made her life challenging. She had a hard time finding activities and people to hang out with because it was always a risk. But she did it. She had two lovely friends that she met at church.
Such good girls.
So good. Never done a thing wrong in their life. Rule followers through and through.
Yeah.
And
This brings us to the next logical place, the morgue. Talk with a mortician, Dr. Ron Drudgeman. He informed us what getting antlered really entailed, or horned.
Yes. Well, hi.
That's right, Dr. Ron Dreschman. I'm the Lucas County coroner. And when we found Mary's body, it had been impaled by a 7-point elk antler, which is very particular. It actually just involved one stab wound, but 7 transverse puncture marks to the body that went up about 20 centimeters through the abdominal and pelvic area, really causing a lot of damage. Another interesting thing that we discovered that we certainly passed on to the investigators was that we found some THC in her system, and that her blood alcohol level was 0.22, which led us to think that perhaps something might have been going on with Mary at the time that she was found. Just not sure quite where that leads. But the other interesting thing that we found that was just a little uncommon was that we found animal fibers, not just around her, but also in between her teeth, as though she was biting down on something. I've never come across anything like it in my career, and I've been the Lucas County coroner for the last 18 years now. Mary Beth was really, her body was unforgettable. And I mean that in a professional sense. We just made sure that we passed things on to the investigators.
This brings us to another incident in Mary's life, which was her time at the Ren Fair, where there are many, many horns and antlers.
Oh.
Hi, my name is William, but around here at the Ren Fair, most people know me as Puck. I'm here at the fair. I'm a 3rd level wizard, and I'm responsible for these guys. Yeah, they get messy.
Wow. Well, this is my friend, Mary Catherine. We share a name, which is how we actually became friends in the first place. Wow, they're like real noisy, aren't they? It's kind of disturbing.
I'm sorry about that. They get really antsy sometimes.
Oh.
They really do. Are you part of some guild? How many times have you fared?
Yeah.
I mean, I mainly go around. This is Herman. He's my elk, part elk, part moose, actually, and I bring him around, and usually I get in the fairs because I got him.
Wow.
I'm kind of riding his coattails if he wore a coat.
Puck, I know you. Your reputation precedes you. You have an antler collection larger than anybody on the grounds.
I don't like to brag, but I've got short antlers, big antlers. I got gentle antlers, pointy antlers. You'd be surprised all the places antlers can end up.
Mary, have you seen his gentle antlers?
No, but I like your wig. It's very like animal-like almost.
You love this? Oh, bless, thank you for noticing. This is the finest squink hair that anyone's ever seen. I've been mining squinks out of the ground for years now to make sure that my fair garb is the best around. Do you want to touch it?
I want you to explain what a squink is, please.
A squink is a skunk and a mink hybrid animal. I charge the smell out of my hair by leaving it outside in tomato baths for about a month.
Wow.
I do the same.
You really ought to hang out. You really ought to invest in one of his gentle antlers. It'll bring you good tidings while you're here.
Don't you run into trouble with running into people with those on the back there?
These? Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes, but do you not recognize your own work? These are the gentlest of your antlers. They don't.
Oh
hurt
my gosh!
anybody.
I thought I didn't want to presume, but those are yeah.
No,
I've never-
these are some of your older ones.
They're nice.
I've never. It actually came from Lucy.
Oh,
Or
you
Luke.
just like,
I get confused about it's Luke. It's probably a Luke. Now that I look at the antler, it's probably Luke.
yeah.
Yeah.
You so you
Oh
just
my
like,
gosh, my familiar's going on.
Oh no, mine's going. Yeah, no, it's crazy like that.
so you just like saw off the antlers just like that, huh?
Oh, sometimes they molt. It's amazing how realistic he makes them.
Really? Wow.
Mhm. Check it out. Look, mine molted right off. You can use them to stir up stew. That thing that I charge my wigs in, I eat all the time.
Oh, you're so funny.
Would you like some? Do you want to try it?
I mean, I'm a little intimidated by it.
Look, these things are the most versatile horns around. You can scoop the soup right out of it and drink it right out of there. Try.
I'm just gonna drink the soup out of the antler now.
Out of the antler, out of the base of it. It's clean, I swear. It's sanitized.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Great job. Oh yeah. Look, see, it's delicious.
Well, Mary, is that a book bag you got on the back? I just got to ask you to keep a little bit of distance. I don't know if you know this. Elks and moose both, they're terrified of books. They'll charge someone with a book.
Really?
Yeah. So they hate literacy. People know a lot of facts about them. They know that they got the pointy antlers. Some people call them, or horns. And they know that the sounds they make, and they know that they're large, but they don't know about their hatred of literacy.
I need some more soup.
Oh, here you go, darling. There you go, sweetheart. There you go.
It's like real good. It's like gamey and weird. But I didn't know that about the books, and I'll be sure to hide them. I carry my books everywhere. They're very important to me. I've recently become very literate. Recently.
That might make you a lot of friends out there in the real world, but you just be careful out here in nature, Ren Fair, elk world with all that knowledge that you're toting around.
It can be a poor fit for the historical time period where literacy levels were fairly low.
Do you guys want to go back to the back of the Ren Fair and hang out and smoke some pot?
Absolutely.
Can we go to the Piggly Wiggly afterwards? Get some.
Yeah, of course we are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, could Ren Fair have led to an unfair situation for poor Mary? Death by soup, by antler, by horn? Learning about this past made our conversations with Toledo's detective make even more sense.
Well, it was clear to us from the get-go that Mary Beth was living a double life. She, to the public or to her parents, she seemed to be a nice girl, volunteering at the soup kitchen, maintaining a close friendship with the gas attendant, going to church. But you take one look at her blood alcohol levels, her THC level in her blood at the time of her death, and you realize this is a party girl. And as we started to investigate, of course, the links to various gentlemen and women were unearthed. Most importantly, I think, or the most significant of those being both her affair with the Ohio State Admissions Director, as well as with Puck at the Ren Fair, who apparently was the subject of some romantic affections from others. So there was a jealousy motive that we wanted to look into. But some unanswered questions we had that we knew we needed to investigate further were the origin of the animal hair, but whether it was a wig or an animal that was in the car and also in her teeth. We knew that was very important. So one other thing that kind of stuck out to us as we were continuing our investigation was the car being submerged on the night of the murder. we were able to, through some acrobatic forensic work, to actually lift viable prints off the steering wheel, despite the fact it was underwater, because the prints had been adhered to the wheel well base because there was sticky lip gloss on them. And it turned out that both of the victims' best friends had driven the car that evening. So there was certainly a question as to whether, you know, this was really Mary Beth who had submerged the vehicle, or whether, of course, one of the two besties in some ways was complicit in the submerging of this vehicle. And most importantly of all, and the last piece of evidence that we really needed to follow up on, was the nature of the wounds that caused her death. She was stabbed 7 times in the abdomen and pelvis. Now that's not an accident. That's not a oops, you know, this is a rage crime. This is a crime of passion in some way. Now, stabbing somebody in the pelvis, that's another word for the genitalia. That's a sexual motivation. Either there's jealousy or romantic intrigue. We knew it was something like that. So I had to kind of look over the suspect list and you know, see who would be the most fruitful to question. And I think with no question at all that the two that stood out to me were definitely the last people to see her alive, which were her best friends. So yeah, I've tried to kind of corner them on a couple things.
Once again, we go back to the girls just looking to have fun, or perhaps commit murder. We were fortunate enough to join Terry Noonan when she investigated these wild beasts. I mean besties.
Hello, girls. Thanks so much for coming in. I appreciate it.
Her friend.
Yeah, it's a tragic loss. Tell me, you were both with her that night. Was that correct?
Yeah, we were totally with her that night because we're always together because we're like the 3 Musketerinos.
So you're always together. Tell me, where were you at the time of her death?
Yeah, well, I mean, like, sometimes you have to step away from someone, right, and get a little breathing space, right? I mean, I was clearly, like, taking a pee in the woods at that time.
Sure.
Had some things to drink.
Now, Tiffany, were you going to the bathroom? Did you need to alleviate yourself because you had been drinking that evening?
I mean, like, water, like Tab. I was drinking Tab.
No, now, I'm sorry, but Mary Beth's blood alcohol level indicates that you guys were drinking a whole lot more than just Tab. Now, I'm here to help you guys. I want to solve this case just the way I'm sure you do too. So you've got to be honest with me. Tell me, did either of you guys drive Mary Beth's vehicle that evening?
Yeah, we both drove it and we were super drunk.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm not here to jam you up on that. All right. And I appreciate your candor. That's great. Because I found some interesting animal hairs or wig hairs where our analysis was inconclusive on this. Can you guys tell me, were either of you handling a large animal that day by any chance, or a wig?
What if it was an animal in a wig?
That actually was my intuition. So thank you so much for confirming that. Can you tell me the circumstances of that animal in said headgear finding its way into the vehicle?
Okay, look, we had gone to the church. Okay, that stupid nun was like really berating Mary Beth, and like we just wanted to do something to sort of get back at her. Okay, so we just took one elk. Okay, and we put a Dolly Parton wig on it, okay? And we also put like some fake boobs and stuff on it, okay?
That sounds quite humorous, really. I can understand that, you know, girls will be girls, but guys, you know your friend Mary Beth, she lived a double life. You know that? She had some very wild sexual adventures. Were you guys aware
we
of
know
that?
We're best friends.
Yeah.
So you did know, you knew. were you familiar with an individual named Puck?
Oh, is that the nerd guy she was fucking?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And what about
that
the
was
gas
like-
station attendant? Because from what I've been told, actually, one of you is also romantically involved with Puck, and one of you is also romantically involved with the gas station attendant.
Okay.
Did you guys know you were sharing?
I knew, but Mary Beth did not know. And it's just that I like the smell of gasoline, okay? It's not like some serious thing, okay?
So you love the smell of gasoline. That's good to know. So neither of you felt necessarily jealous of Mary Beth and her romantic successes.
No, because we're also slamming hotties and get dick whenever we want.
That's true. That does seem legit.
Look at us.
Huh? Yeah. Well, I mean, from what I can tell, you guys seem like you were having an innocent night of a little bit of tomfoolery, some heavy drinking and driving, but that's not what we're here about. It doesn't sound like you guys were murdering. So, I mean, I appreciate your help. And if you guys can think of anything else, I'd really appreciate it if you'd let me know.
Wow, you're kind of a cool cop. You don't care about us drinking in public.
Yeah. In fact, next time you should, never mind. Yeah. Don't drink and drive. That's what I mean to say. Yes. Mm-hmm.
It kind of sounds like you just condoned it.
This interview, this very interview, posed new questions about the other sides of Mary, like being a very, very sexual librarian, which led us to join Toledo's finest, interrogating Ohio State Admission Director Jack.
You sure I shouldn't have an attorney present for this?
You are welcome to have an attorney present, and you're in no way obligated to talk to me, as I've explained to you before. However, if I'm willing.
You've called my bluff. You've called my bluff. I don't have a.
Yeah, they are expensive. I have seen your salary.
I don't know why I got an administration. I knew I should have gotten the JD.
Yeah. Well, there's always next time. Yeah. So, Jack, right?
Yeah.
Jack, tell me about your.
We were involved. Okay, you're gonna find out eventually. We were involved, and she came here, and I asked, like, "Hey, is this about our history?" And she said, "Yeah," and it made me uncomfortable. Okay, and it was a risk for the job, and I taped it, and I lost the tape. And everyone here knows that I'm an antler enthusiast, and I know it looks really bad. Okay, I know it looks like that.
Mm-hmm. So just to clarify, she came here.
Yes, if you want to clarify, I still am deeply in love with her. Okay, and I got a sense we couldn't be together, and she was being with others, and it drove me crazy with jealousy. Okay, which just adds to the motive. Mm-hmm. I'm aware of how it looks.
What is that mark on the wall back there going through the drywall? Looks a little bit like the points of an antler.
They are. It is. It's.
So maybe just in a fit of rage, you sort of.
I collect 7 pointed antlers, and this was one of my rare collections that I was able to get. And I know that looks bad. I'm aware of that.
And how did those holes get there?
I in a fit of anger over something that someone said about Reagan, I plunged them into the wall. No, it was about jealousy. It was nope. You know what? I can't lie first. Yeah, it was about jealousy. I couldn't take it anymore. Just seeing her walk across campus, thinking, why can't she be with me? And I can't approach her about it because that's awkward and stalky, right? I don't want to be that guy.
But you did watch her.
I mean, yeah. I mean, when you say watch, it sounds really creepy like that. I mean, I watched her go across campus.
Oh, I'm sorry. But you did watch her. I
mean, I saw her. I feel like watching's different.
And What did you see when you were watching, seeing her?
Just the same girl I fell in love with that I used to play late book at the library, angry librarian with, and Save Me, I'm Drowning, which was ridiculous because she couldn't swim. And I can't.
I'm sorry, I'm getting a little bit emotional as well.
Right?
Seeing other
people. It's the first thing they tell you, like, don't fall in love. And I could tell you loved her too. I could tell you've fallen in love too.
Well, that's not true. That's not something I'm willing to admit at all. This is about you and those antler marks. And
no, I've seen that look. That's the look of someone who's been in love with her.
What's that down there? Is that a wig?
Yeah.
You wear it often?
Sometimes I like to wear the wig. It was her wig, okay? I took it from her backpack. It was there on the lawn. And but wait, you've got a little bit of the wig in your hair. Yeah, just come here.
No, I'm not going to give you I don't know why no. This is actually something completely innocuous and unrelated. And I'm not the one on trial here. And neither are you, for that matter. I will be back with more questions.
I'm going to have a little bitty ceremony at the library with tea. If you
are.
If you'd like to join, we're going to have pictures of her and talk about.
Are they the good pictures?
Some are good. Some are better than others, right?
Some are so bad.
Oh, and which is the camera's lying because she was always beautiful.
She was kind of a knockout, even when she was dead. Even the coroner said she's a knockout corpse.
Oh, the tangled web we weave. There were holes in this case. There were holes in the wall, and we were all none the wiser. Which led us back to Terry Noonan's investigation with that intimidating nun.
So I'm told that you and the deceased had quite the falling out on the evening of her death.
Well, I believe if you want to say that's what it's called, falling like Lucifer falling from the sky, then yes, the falling as Mary Beth fell to her.
I'm picking up, now, and I don't mean to be presumptuous, ma'am, of course, but I'm picking up on, you seem to believe that she suffered some sort of deterioration or slide. Could you elaborate a little bit?
She pretended to be a good little girl while taking money from the church and grabbing boys' buttocks up on the altar during communion even, so the whole congregation could see. She would take all of the candles that had been put out for prayer and blow them out. How would God hear?
I mean, this sounds like horrific, demonish behavior. I agree, but I have it on good authority. I've heard from multiple sources that you are, in fact, the one who was selling Mary Beth the weed she had in her system that evening. Is that not true?
Look, if God didn't want us to smoke weed, he wouldn't have made it.
That's a fair point. All right. Another connection I thought I'd follow up with you about. Now, your brother is the admissions director at the Ohio State University. Is that not correct?
Yes, Jack is my stepbrother, as it is.
And he was devastated. He was hurt by Mary Beth. Did you know that? Were you aware of the entanglement between the two of them?
Yes, I knew of it. Yes. And I told not nary a word to anyone except my elks.
Mm-hmm. And I wanted to talk to you about your elk. Your elk actually used to be the mascot at Ohio State University. Is that also true?
Yes.
Is your elk available? Can I take a look at its antlers?
Suppose you have to.
Oh.
Nothing
Seems like something's missing there.
But
What happened? I mean,
this is the famous one-horned elk.
Hey sis, I started to come here in the convent, but I brought your reed for you.
oh my God, so much is revealed. So you're saying
A bad time
who
right
is
now.
Jack?
Yeah, but she's my sister. We're related. She's my sister. So yeah.
How did this elk come to lose its horn? He just ran off.
So you're asking me? So I was just supposed to. I didn't think I was a suspect. I was just bringing something for my sister.
You're
But
right.
yeah, I can tell you about this if you want.
Yeah.
Sure. They usually lose their horn when they either reach a new level of maturity or have witnessed something that they feel deeply conflicted about, and then they molt.
Thank you, Jack.
No problem. I got to get back to my moose though, because this isn't mine.
No. So your brother implies that your elk witnessed something?
My elk was taken from the yard, and the hideous things were done. Breasts and hair were put on my elk, and I am now giving him Chinese herbal medicine for PTSD.
This elk appears to be high. If I had to, I'm a detective. This looks like he's been consuming THC. Have you been feeding your elk THC?
It calms them down. They're a little neurotic. They have some OCD sometimes.
Now, tell me, last question, Matt. Is it true that one of your primary business associates is the clerk of the gas station?
One of my what?
Primary business associates in your weed team.
Okay, well, a nun can't just go down the street selling weed. I needed a runner. Okay, so yes.
That elk does not look healthy. I think you ought to see a veterinarian. You ought to see a veterinarian for that, man. Last, final question. Do you know how to drive a car?
I may have driven a car 20 years ago or so.
All right. Well, it sounds like you had the motive, but maybe not the opportunity if you haven't been behind the wheel in 20 years. So.
Oh, but was intimidating nun driving something else? Who knows? Noonan's investigation led back to talk to Kathy, chatty Kathy, local gas station employee with her sidekick, peddling more than just gas.
All right, Billy, come on, get that truck packed.
Oh yeah, I'll go out back and pack that up. No problem. I'll be right back. Yeah.
Don't leave.
I did not mean to interrupt. You have my apologies. I see you are wielding a baseball bat. Is there any particular reason for that?
Detective, listen, you know me. I've lived here my entire life.
Yes,
we
you have.
also have clarified this is a shady part of town, so I just hold this more or less like a child holds a teddy bear.
So you are no stranger to wielding implements violently, is what you're saying to me.
Yeah. Oh, not at all.
No.
Not a bit. One bit, not me at all.
Now, Kathy, you were real close with the victim. Were you not really good, close friends, is what I've been told?
Oh, I mean, we had a respectable business relationship. She came in here, bought cinnamon rolls, told me about her life woes. I advised her as best as a shady traveler, NPC character in her life can.
Did she buy anything other than just cinnamon rolls, Kathy?
Well, I mean, on occasion, she would buy the Twinkie, the Cinna stick, the buck bars,
Kathy,
as they
you
call
are
them.
messing with me, and I do not appreciate it. You were selling drugs around to all the kids, particularly to Mary Beth. And good Lord, again, there's a goat who's clearly under the influence of drugs, or an elk under the influence of drugs on your property. How did this even get here?
I can't help with what things get into when I leave backpacks on the back porch. Billy!
I'm sorry. I'm trying to bring the elk back to where they go.
Billy,
Come on. Come on.
Billy, can I ask you, what was? I will get to the bottom of this.
No, you're right. No, Billy, go ahead, come back. No, you bring yourself back, and we'll talk this out.
I brought Bessie with me. Sorry.
No,
did you happen to see Mary Beth on the evening that she died, Billy?
Oh, you mean that real pretty girl? No, I didn't see her or nothing. I heard a big old splash down by the lake, though.
And where was Kathy at that time?
Well, she was pumping gas, like she normally.
Oh, she was pumping gas. Well, that's an alibi. That's great. Great,
Yeah.
Kathy, you have an alibi. You're set. What about these elks? Where were they?
Well, I think they were in the woods by the lake. It's hard to keep them tied up, like,
That is not an alibi. That is not an alibi. So we have at least two elks that were drugged up to the eyeballs, wielding implements of mass destruction just in their heads, and with some motive, it sounds like, for Mary Beth. All right.
Detective, I don't envy your job.
No. Last question. Billy, did you have sexual relations with Mary Beth?
Somebody like Mary Beth? With me, I wish. Oh man, that'd be real. Wow. Now I think
Wow. That is the first genuine surprise I have encountered in this case.
He's about the only one she hasn't been with. She's told me everybody.
Update. During this broadcast, thanks to a tip from a viewer like you, we were able to solve this case and find Mary's killer. The FBI apprehended the suspect, who was found hiding in an old shed on a pig farm in Athens, Alabama, hopped up on marijuana, covered in fibers, and surrounded by antlers. It's said that he may have been masturbating with one. Jack is now serving a life sentence with no possibility of parole. Join us next time for another episode of Improvised Mysteries. We'll explore satanic cults and their connection to jelly beans. Sometimes the line between what is fact and fiction is an unsolved mystery. For every mystery, someone somewhere knows the truth. Perhaps that someone is watching. Perhaps it's you.
And that is our show. Everybody join me, come back, improvisers. I thought it was going to be the nun.
I thought it was going to be the elks. It's funny we didn't even have an elks lodge.
Oh,
That's what I was thinking too. That would show up somewhere.
I used to get drunk at Elks Lodges a lot in my 20s, but that's a story for another day. Thank you everyone for joining us and for chatting with us. We are NoPants Improv, and this was Improvised Mysteries. We do we do shows every Wednesday and Sunday, and sometimes Tuesday and Thursday now. Our next show is directed by our own Ginny Sanborn on Sunday, right? The Slacker format show?
Yeah.
What is that? What's Slacker? Are you guys not going to do anything?
Slacker is super loose. It's lots of tags, essentially.
Who will be in the Slacker show? I know I'm in it. Hello Slackers. Woohoo!
Love a slacker.
Yeah.
So you can watch.
So thank you so much for joining us. I'm Anne. Can everyone else say their name?
I'm Stacy.
I'm Jenny.
I'm John.
I'm Lisa.
I'm Bree.
I'm Danielle.
Neil.
Oh, so close.
Thank you for joining us. Check us out